Which are the hottest properties in the market? Where should you invest? And how can you drive yourself a good deal? That's precisely what we are answering today on Property Hotline. Hello and welcome. I'm Kavita Krishnan, and with me in the studio is Amit Goenka. Amit is the MD and CEO of Nisus Finance. Amit, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Kavita. Pleasure to be back.
Let's get started with Pradeep's question. Now, he is looking to buy property in Kandivali East for investment. He says purely for investment purpose. He wants to know the options that are available for a budget of 80 lakh rupees. What can that buy you in Kandivali?
Well, somehow I think Borivali, Kandivali have become very, very hotbed destinations, no doubt. Kavita, I think despite the RERA fare, despite the demonetization, I think if there is any volume left that we are seeing, especially on the western corridor, it is certainly in the Borivali, Kandivali belt. So I think that remains a good micro market to start considering options. Given the budget, I mean, you can look at 1.5 BHK configurations within Kandivali East, and there are a number of projects including NG Sun City by RNA, which is actually ready possession. It's an older project which was delivered a couple of years back, which you will get about 650 odd square feet within your budget. There is also another project by Bhumi, a reasonably well-known developer, which is again a ready-to-move in, which you can afford within your budget. And then, of course, there are a number of projects which will be giving possession within this year or the next year, which again you can make a choice within your budget. Alternatively, if you can stretch a bit, you can look at Rivali Park in Borivali. It is bang on the highway opposite Borivali National Park. It is done very well. Again, within a budget of about 90-95 lakhs, you would be able to buy a 1.5 BHK comprising of about 700 square feet. So you can actually get a Borivali apartment within the price, where typically a similar apartment would otherwise cost you about 1.2 crores if you're looking at SP or Oberoi, which are again very, very good projects and very fast sellers. So there are a number of options both in Borivali East as well as in Kandivali East that you can look at for sure. If you're looking at Kandivali West, now Kandivali West, of course, again has the connectivity of the railway station, and it's not very, and reasonably connected now with the new link road to Kandivali East as well, which will give you approximately the same price points. And there are projects by Kalpavrikshu, Ruparel, Parini, etc., which are either getting delivered within this year or the next year as well, if you were to look at Kandivali West. But yes, I think Kandivali East remains still a first choice for me for sure.
Right, and those are the prices up there on the screen for you. Borivali East, which was one of the recommendations of Amit, averaging around 14,534 rupees per square foot. Kandivali East, Kandivali West, Kandivali East over there, 15,313 rupees per square foot, up 1%, and Kandivali West has actually gone down 5%, 14,172 rupees per square foot, but more or less, we're looking at 1,000 rupees per square foot average difference over there between East and West. But you know, Amit, the question that I want to ask you here is that in the eastern suburbs and in suburbs which are closer to the Bandra Kurla complex area, we are seeing a lot of studio apartments that are coming in, which are generally priced around the 80 lakh to 1 crore rupee within that budget. Are you seeing any of this supply coming into the western suburbs as well?
Not really, Kavita, because the whole purpose of a studio is to be able to provide very infill livable spaces for those who are actually traveling, let's say all the way from a Mira Bhayandar or a Kandivali, Borivali, and coming, let's say, to a Worli, BKC area, and therefore spending 4 hours of their lives every day effectively just commuting. So the whole purpose of a studio is to have that intra-week accommodation where you can actually use that pad for the week and then go back to a 2 BHK, 3 BHK and a larger, better township when you're going back over the weekends, which is clearly why most of the developments have been really township developments and not standalone buildings, unlike the studios, which will end up actually being more standalone, very thrifty, very nifty, very tight, frillless sort of accommodation. So I don't really see that it will start looking at.
But you are seeing 1.5 BHK.
1.5 has been the flavor even at Mira Bhayandar. If you look at what was 3 BHK came down to 2 BHK.
No, I'm talking about Kandivali, because for the last couple of years at least we've seen a lot of 2 and 3 BHKs in the market.
That's right.
Are you seeing the return of the 1 BHK over there?
1 BHK, yes. In fact, some of the projects we've recommended, some have even started offering 1 BHKs, which have been actually quite a fast seller because the ticket size is really very small. and therefore the EMIs are very, very small. So for those who are moving in for the first time in the city, actually prefer starting with a 1 BHK and then graduating to a 2 BHK. But studio is not something which one will I think today the mindset is still not there to go to Kandivali and buy a studio. You'd rather have a studio for the same price.
But the good thing over here, of course, is that the days of the humongous flats are gone. The starter homes are back, which means a lot more people can actually go out and buy a home, at least think of buying a home.
So I don't know if it's a good thing or not, but yes, certainly, Kavita, the price sensitivity is very high. Also, I think generally the per square foot cost actually goes up quite a bit in the smaller or the compacted apartments, because you're getting smaller space for typically a larger price on a per square foot basis, because clearly the amount of construction involved is much larger. The FSI utilization is actually much less, and therefore people are able to actually charge more. That's why they charge on a unit basis. So I think really from a pricing point, it's slightly inefficient. Yes, tradability is much higher for sure.
Tradability is much higher, and also, like I said, it does allow a lot more people to be able to think of buying homes now, which for the last few years was completely out of reach in Mumbai. True. Pratik Agarwal is on the line from Mumbai. Pratik, what's your question?
Yeah, hello sir. This is my first time investment. I'm with a budget of around 15 lakhs. Okay. And I have seen rounded up around Neral or Asangaon for a residential plot. And I'm still confused whether these areas are good for an investment returns for, say, next 5 to 6 years, or if I should go for a flat in the same budget.
You know, it's interesting, and this is the question I was going to ask Amit also. Amit, Pratik is a first-time investor, like he just pointed out himself. Does it make sense for him to invest in land at this point in time?
See, I think first of all, given the locations, and he's right in actually choosing those kind of locations in terms of the budget that has been offered. But it depends upon how savvy you are, Pratik, as an investor, and how active you will be as an investor. Because, mind you, the investment in a land is a far more active investment than actually investing in an apartment, because there is somebody else's responsibility to actually deliver a home for you, and which you can further rent, lease, etc., occupy. Whereas the land, the chances of land title getting distorted or encroached upon, of claims being made, of you being able to ring fence and keep your land sacrosanct and marketable and tradable at all times, actually comes at a cost. And there is obviously an outflow associated in terms of maintenance, property tax, etc., which continuously is a recurring cost without no corresponding recurring income that you will see on a land. But having said that, land parcels are obviously very hard to find. And as you increasingly now today, Neral has transacted close to 4,000 acres of land over the last 3 years alone, because multiple townships have actually come in the Neral, Karjat side. And therefore, there's been a very large land absorption. So given that fact that there has been townships coming up, there will always be at some point, maybe 5, 7, 8 years later, once these townships have been built out, the requirement for somebody to buy a land and actually build a little bit of a house or a small villa for themselves. So over a longer period of time, I think your ability to recover a larger return on your investment from land in these locations will always be much better than your return on investment in an apartment. But the caveat, as I said, is that you will have to actively maintain it, actively ensure that the title is not compromised and it remains tradable at all times. So yes, given that, if you are able to do that, I would recommend land if it is still available.
More than anything else, if you are in Mumbai or outside, just outside Mumbai, you need to ensure that that land is not encroached upon, which means you will have to keep visiting it time and again. You will have to fence it. So there is a lot of investment that goes into maintaining the asset as well. It's not just buying a piece of land, sticking a board in it and letting it stay over there. You will have to ensure that it is secured.
Whereas the apartment appreciation may not be more than 5% a year, Kavita. So if you're happy with that on a levered basis, if you're able to make reasonable
more risk,
returns,
more returns is what Amit is essentially telling you. With that, we'll slip into a short break. But Property Hotline will continue on the other side. Amit stays with us to answer all your questions on buying, selling and investing in real estate. Welcome back. This is Property Hotline. Amit Goenka in the studio. We are answering all your questions on buying, selling and investing in real estate. We have Anil with us now, who sent in a question. He says he wants to find out which is a prime location in Jaipur to purchase a flat for residential purpose. His budget is 60 lakh rupees. Amit, Jaipur is a very interesting market. A lot of growth already and a lot of very proactive policies that the government has brought about, right?
Absolutely. I think Rajasthan leads the pack when it comes to actually developing affordable housing, to housing policies, to supporting the development industry to deliver on time, and creating some very, very nifty schemes. So no doubt about that. In fact, it has been one of the leaders when it comes to creating policies which allow waivers of several taxes if it's in the affordable segment. Now, when you look at Jaipur, however, it has still been a very speculative market because of its proximity to Delhi, and is seen as a either as a wedding destination, as a leisure destination for those looking at the DMIC. Or the proximity to Delhi. So the land purchases have been actually quite rampant, and people started looking at developing townships, which really didn't work very well for the NCR developers, which have either have abandoned it or have curtailed their developments. So I think the downside of Jaipur has already been passed. I think there's been a lot of correction in prices. Now I think it's starting to look up again because I think the leisure market is back. Second is the entire wedding and secondary purchase market seems to be reviving around NCR from what our studies tell us. So I think Jaipur still continues to make sense, though I would not put a lot of upside in terms of the price appreciation in Jaipur over the next year or two. I think it'll take time for it to actually start seeing significant returns. Within the city, again, South Jaipur continues to be an attractive location. Tonk Road obviously is one of the more expensive localities there, which is trading at about 4,500 to 5,000 rupees a square foot. And there are a number of developments that you can look at, Anil, which will suit your budget, which is ready to move in. There's an SDC project as well that you can see on your screen, which is ready to move in. If you go towards locations like Jagatpura and Mansarovar, they start to get cheaper, trading between 2,500-3,000 rupees to about 3,500 rupees a square foot. So depending upon your preference within South Jaipur, you can actually make these choices. There are a number of ready to move in projects in all these three micro markets of South Jaipur that you can consider.
Right. But also we are seeing a lot of industrial activity in Jaipur. You are seeing big industry move over there, industrial townships being built. Should he consider those options as well, or are they too far out of the city?
Yeah, of course. I think Jaipur started with the Mahindra World City SEZ actually coming up there first, making its foray into creating an integrated industrial township. And obviously then thereafter a number of industries have come in. But I don't think the industrial growth is that rapid, Kavita, that one would have, that one sees, for example, in Pune or even North Bangalore. So yes, it is definitely an indicator of value, and people do consider that. It does not necessarily directly impact the residential prices very significantly like it does in Pune, for example, because of industrialization or ITS. And again, it is largely the IT segment which has driven up prices faster than what a pure manufacturing sector has been able to deliver. So therefore, my outlook still remains about 5 to 6% capital appreciation year on year, at least for the next few years. And of course, if the DMIC was to get commissioned, then that will obviously increase the propensity of people to actually use Jaipur as a as a hub rather than some of the other places closer to Delhi.
Right, and Anil, of course, on your screen over there are the PropWorth prices for properties in Jaipur. These are prices that are trending as of now. And all the locations that Amit just called out, Vaishali Nagar, Mansarovar, Jagatpur, all of those you will see are well within your 60 lakh bracket that you are talking about. We have Akash now, who's called in from Bangalore with a question. Akash, go on. You're on the show.
Yes. Actually, I have a 2 BHK flat in Noida Extension with the builder Gore, and I think I'll be getting a position by the end of this year.
Okay.
So, and I want another investment. So I was just thinking whether to sell off that investment as there's a change in government in UP. So how long should I stay with that property, or like, is it beneficial to stay with that property for a long period of time? I have a horizon of 5 years. I can wait for that.
Akash, where in Noida Extension is this property?
It's in Noida Extension with builder Gore in Gore City.
Gore City. Okay.
Yeah.
But should a change in government really spur you to sell off property?
So, Akash, this is in Gore City, and at what price have you bought it?
Yes, I have bought at 3450 square per feet, and it's a 2 BHK.
Right. So, clearly, as you're aware that it's a good project, Akash. It is one of the hallmark projects of Noida Extension, Gore City, which I believe your apartment would be complete and delivered to you.
No, it it would be delivered in this August.
That's right. So most of it is under completion and would be delivered very soon. The prices typically in that micro market are more like 3,800 to 4,000 rupees a square foot. So you're already seeing certain upside there. Whether there will be further upside, I doubt it, because there is again a very large amount of inventory which is getting delivered in that exact vicinity, which are all at 3,800 to 4,000 rupees a square foot, which will all be actually coming up for delivery over the next year to 2 years. Until such time that inventory is exhausted, I think prices will continue to remain under pressure in the sub 4,000 range. But I still think that Noida extension is a far better micro market, and at that price point compared to even going to, for example, Greater Noida, or even going to maybe Ghaziabad. So clearly Noida extension or Greater Noida West has upped the ante on Ghaziabad at this price point. I think the amenities and the infrastructure available is really good, and I would encourage you to continue stay with it. You've already made an upside, so if you need liquidity upon delivery, I think you will definitely be able to realize better than your price, closer to 4,000 rupees a square foot, at which time you may even choose to rent it because it's a superior development, the entire Gore City project.
In fact, I was just coming to that, Amit. Let's make it a little sweeter for him, for Akash. How much rental can he really expect in this area? What kind of demand is there for rents, for flats on rent over here?
So, good question, Kavita. I think one can expect an annual rent of close to about maybe something like 2.5 to 3 lakhs a year. So which is actually a pretty healthy return. Of course, there will be certain outgoes, etc. from that, and I don't know what the specific outgo for Gore is in terms of maintenance, etc. But one will expect to earn about 4 to 5% returns on the on the apartment, which is pretty decent on a gross basis.
Right, and that kind of rental yield is not to be sneezed at. Look at the prices of Noida extension over there, averaging around 3,201 rupees per square foot. And like Amit just pointed out, Gore City, where you have your flat, is at around 3,800 is what you said. Yeah. 3,800, which means you've got a good, decent upside already, and you can expect good rentals as well. So hold on to it for some time. Wait till the market settles down, wait till all that supply comes in, which means another 2-3 years at least, and then look to sell it. You'll probably get a better appreciation and get a better price for that flat when you do go selling it, say 2 to 3 years down the line. But moving on to Kishore's question now. He bought a flat with a builder in Sector 160 Noida. Now people are saying that market rates are down. Should he keep the flat or sell it? He bought the flat at 90 lakh rupees. It is a 3 BHK apartment on the 12th floor. If he does plan to sell it, how much can he expect?
Right. I think one of the classical challenges of Greater Noida, I was just describing that in my previous question, and again a very stark comparison to what Noida extension, for example, trades at. I think Kishore, if he has bought a 3 BHK, would typically be a 1,600 square foot apartment, which typically puts his acquisition price close to about 5,625 rupees a square foot. If you look at all the developments in that vicinity, actually the prices have become quite competitive, starting from 4,500 rupees going up to about 5,500 rupees. Some of them which are under construction, including of the ATS Group, which is one of the most reputed developers in the NCR, is actually even starting at 4,000 rupees a square foot. So clearly there has been a downside, no doubt, Kishore, on your investment. I think a lot of the purchase which was happening in Noida, in Greater Noida, was speculative because of the Yamuna Expressway, the Taj Corridor, etc. And therefore prices had started at a very peak point. And clearly because of the oversupply, because of the issues, etc., prices have come down. I think at this price today, it is still reasonably attractive. Now, whether you will want to cut your losses, get out and look at something else, I don't know, because again, the upside in a comparable purchase is not that high. Yes, you will start at a good entry point. You will continue to start seeing appreciation as well. But whether you'll be able to recover your entire investment still remains to be seen. So therefore, maybe wait for some more time.
No, but whether or not he will recover his investment, doesn't it also depend on when he bought into this project? Now, say he had bought in at something around, say, 3,000, 3,500 rupees per square foot, and prices now have slid down from say 5,000 to 4,000.
No, he's saying, Kavita, that he's bought his flat at 90 lakh rupees, which means he's bought it at 5,600 rupees or above. And
in that case, he is at a loss.
Yes, exactly. And because now today everybody is willing to sell at sub 5,000 rupees, irrespective which.
So cut your losses and run.
So
is what you're saying?
that is option number one. Yes, I think under the new government, I think the the plank is obviously development and growth. I think it is very important that they will start ensuring that the Yamuna Expressway utilization, the extension of the metro and the infrastructure which has been planned gets accelerated. And that will obviously bring an upside to that vicinity and that micro market. It's a very, very huge development.
But you're saying two things over here. So what should he do? Should he hold or should he sell?
I think it is better to hold, honestly, Kavita. I don't think, writing off 20% or 25% of your price today makes any sense. Especially that, I'm hoping that the project in which you're invested is getting delivered reasonably soon compared to some of the other projects. So I think it would be better and wait for price equalization to happen over a few years once infrastructure growth and occupation starts, because today even now Noida
so
is
essentially if your project is not delayed, if possession is expected to happen well in time, that is if possession is around the corner, then you should probably be better off holding on to it, unless of course you need the money, in which case you are looking at a 20 to 25% loss is what Amit is saying. Moving on to Deepak's question now, he wants to know areas to invest in Navi Mumbai and Thane. Is it a good time to invest with a budget of 60 to 70 lakh rupees? This is purely for investment purpose. He already owns a flat in Ghatkopar. He's planning to buy another flat. Amit, we are rapidly running out of time. We'll have to be very quick with
Sure. We are looking at Navi Mumbai and Thane, very two distinct micro markets, and you'll have to, obviously, it's hard to choose one over the other because both have got very,
But
very
a budget
strong.
of 60 to 70 lakh.
Yeah, so within 60 to 70 lakhs, of course, today Godbandar is an option where you get 1.5 BHKs, Kavita. You've seen that people are willing to sell at close to 7,000 rupees a square foot. So you will get about 800, 900 square foot within your budget. There are many, many good projects, including Puranik City or Vijay or Inandani, which are always selling at within 80 lakh budgets, 1 BHK. So all the big builders on Godbandar Road and Kolchet Road are actually willing to sell within that price point. If you're looking at going beyond that, then obviously there are options in Dombivli and Mira Road. Within Navi Mumbai, again, there are micro markets of Kharghar, Panvel, Pali Road, etc., Road Pali, which are again able to afford properties within the 70 lakh budget. In fact, they are much lower as well if you look at Panvel compared to a Pali Road. So yes, I think you are actually will not have a dearth of choices. There are ready to move in, for example, at Pali Road by Bhumi, Platinum, Mahavir, etc., which you can definitely buy for within 70 lakhs. Likewise, you will find a number of options in Kharghar as well, where you'll be able to buy over 1,000 square feet for within 70 lakhs. So there are options. I would prefer Kharghar and Pali Road within Navi Mumbai as opposed to going into Panvel, Navi Panvel. It is still a distinct sort of
But if you had to compare Kharghar, Thane and Road Pali or Pali Road, like you said, which would you pick if you had 60 lakh rupees to invest?
Always a hard choice, Kavita, but I think Thane, of course, is a great market, no doubt. And I think, but again, the supply has been enormous. Every large developer that you can think of has actually gone and set up, very, very large townships. So for that appreciation to come up, for absorption to happen, and for people to start seeing
Quickly, Amit, Thane or Navi Mumbai?
I stick with Kharghar, Navi Mumbai.
Kharghar, Navi Mumbai is Amit's pick, so that's probably the market that you should be looking at. With that, we come to an end of this episode of Property Hotline. Amit Goenka, thank you very much for coming and answering all those questions. And of course, any question on real estate, do send them in. We will get them answered by the country's biggest experts. Thank you for watching.